From his modest lifestyle to his commitment to investing in new opportunities, let's look at how Warren Buffett made his billions. Number 8. Early investing. Now, one of the most powerful, richest men in the world, billionaire Warren Buffett's success story begins in Omaha, Nebraska. Born in 1930 to Congressman Howard Buffett and his wife Layla, Warren was the only son of his 3 siblings. Around age 12, his family moved to Washington, D.C., where Buffett would continue his studies and, from a young age, become obsessed with business. When he was 7, he read a book titled 1,000 Ways to Make $1,000, which would inspire his days of youth to be filled with entrepreneurial ventures. Buffett would sell gum, soda bottles, and magazines in his first business, before moving on to golf balls, stamps, and chore-based jobs like washing cars and delivering papers. He was so business savvy at that age that he even took a $35 deduction from his first income tax return for the use of his bicycle and watch during his paper route. By the time he finished college, Buffett had bought shares of the city's service company, which would go on to become Citgo Petroleum, ran a pinball business, purchased farmland, and accumulated $9,800 in savings. It was the equivalent to $103,000 today. Number 7. Entering the business world. After college, Buffett began working at Buffett Falk & Company in 1951, practicing investment sales before transitioning to become a securities analyst for Graham-Newman Corporation 3 years later. After this, he would work as a general partner for Buffett Partnership Limited for the next 13 years. Finally, in 1970, he would find a more permanent home in the role of chairman and CEO for the holding company Berkshire Hathaway Incorporated. This ascent to success wasn't without obstacles, though. When he was still working at Buffett Falk & Company, Warren sought out Benjamin Graham, who he knew from his time at Columbia University. Graham had garnered notoriety from his success in investing, and Buffett was eager to work for him on Wall Street, going so far as to offer to work for free. He was turned down, and it would be another 2 years until he would accept Graham's partnership to form the Graham-Newman Corp. In the meantime, he took a Dale Carnegie speaking course while working in Omaha as a stockbroker. He taught an investment principles class to students twice his age at the University of Nebraska-Omaha and bought a gas station as a side investment. Throughout his career, Warren Buffett remained vigilant in constantly pursuing new business ventures. After starting his own Buffett partnership in 1956, the businessman had amassed $174,000 in savings, which would equate to $1.6 million by modern standards. By 1960, he was running 7 partnerships in total while building a family in his 5-bedroom stucco home in Omaha, where he still modest lives today. Number 6. Professional partners. Buffett's path to success wasn't solitary, as he had made many acquaintances, friends, and partnerships along the way to help drive his ambition. There was, of course, Benjamin Graham, who he had greatly looked up to. Graham was a stern boss to work for, but Buffett learned a lot from him, both as a student and as a partner, having been so influenced by him that he named his second child Howard Graham Buffett in his honor. In 1959, Warren would meet Charlie Munger, a real estate attorney and businessman who happened to have worked for a grocery store owned by Buffett's grandfather as a teenager. The two wouldn't work together until 1978, when Munger left his investment company to join with Buffett at Berkshire Hathaway. The duo would go on to build the firm into one of the most successful in the world, with current assets valued at more than $736 billion. They've enjoyed a friendship of 60 years and a business partnership of more than 40 years, with Buffett acting as chairman and CEO and Munger playing his right-hand man as vice chairman. Of their relationship, Buffett has said, "There are not too many people I listen to, but Charlie, he's given me a lot of good advice over time, and I may hate to take it to a certain degree, but my decisions have been better. I've lived a better life because of Charlie." Number 5. At the helm. As Buffett oversaw a growing number of partnerships to great success, he decided to merge them into one. In 1962, these partnerships had garnered excess revenue of more than $7 million, over $1 million of which belonged to Buffett. Having invested in textile manufacturing firm Berkshire Hathaway, Buffett would use this as the foundation for his empire. He began buying shares of Berkshire Hathaway along with his partners until he was eventually able to take control of the company at a board meeting. He immediately named a new president to run the company and began moving the business away from textiles and into insurance, though the company's last textile mill wasn't sold until 1985. He would lead Berkshire Hathaway upward with direct communication to shareholders, beginning a now famous tradition of writing an annual letter to them in 1970. 1979 was an especially profitable year for Berkshire, as the company started the year trading at $775 per share, and by year's end, shares were worth $1,310 each, launching Buffett's net worth up to $620 million by the end of the 70s. All the while, he would live on the modest wage of $50,000 a year, combined with his outside investments, making sure to keep as much money dedicated to progressing Berkshire Hathaway as possible. Number 4. Money-minded. With his early interest in business, Buffett has spent the majority of his life learning and understanding the intricacies of making money. Over time, he's established his own rules for success, some of which he's been gracious enough to share with the public. He advises that people take the job that you would take if you were independently wealthy. Following passions is something Buffett firmly believes in, both for your own happiness as well as a means of maximizing your productive output and chance for success. He tells those in the process of hiring to look for integrity, intelligence, and energy. Buffett emphasizes the need for integrity, as the lack of that trait will ensure the other two are absent as well. He has said, "There's a whole bunch of things I don't know a thing about, I just stay away from those. So I stay within what I call my circle of competence." Through focusing on what one specializes in, they can gain more than from trying to be a jack of all trades, in which you will spend your energy getting mildly good at many areas rather than really good at one. He firmly believes in reading as a means constantly keeping your mind sharp and adding to your mental bank of knowledge. Especially important to study, according to Buffett, are the failures of those in your chosen field. From his own experience, he cites complacency as the greatest danger companies and individuals face in their pursuits of success. Number 3. In the face of crisis. During the financial crisis of 2007 and 2008, much of the world looked to leading businessmen like Buffett to turn the tides of the recession. Initially, he was quoted as calling the irony of banks who had sold complex investments facing the fallout a little poetic justice, in that the people that brewed this toxic Kool-Aid found themselves drinking a lot of it in the end. However, he remained optimistic, noting that the rate cuts by central bankers that resulted would mean more cheap money to borrow in the meantime. Buffett himself would step up to the plate and assist the economy in the best way he could, by investing. He purchased 10% perpetual preferred stock in Goldman Sachs, helped Dow Chemical pay for their takeover of chemical manufacturer Roman Haas, thus becoming the single largest shareholder, and even bought General Electric preferred stock. Buffett played an intricate role in assisting with the debt and equity crisis, but still came under fire as some suggested he mistimed when he allocated capital, as well as criticized his choice to keep some of Berkshire's stagnant major holdings. To this, he replied that making the correct investment choices may seem easy to do when one looks through an always clean rearview mirror. Unfortunately, however, it's the windshield through which investors must peer, and that glass is invariably fogged. Number 2. Rebellious stances. Often, the wealthy are thought of as being naturally conservative, preferring policies that protect their massive fortunes. Buffett, however, goes against the grain in this domain, often siding with more liberal stances, despite the effect they may have on his own riches. On the topic of healthcare, Buffett has been clear that the United States as a whole spends an inflated amount on coverage. It's projected that healthcare costs in the U.S. will reach 20% of GDP by 2020, but Buffett has stated he believes it should be nearer to 13 or 14% instead. He faults the lobbying of the medical industry and their focus on maintaining their income as a major cause of exorbitant costs. While many of the rich rally for lower taxes, Buffett has been vocal in criticizing the unequal contributions between the richest Americans and those of the lower classes. He's also critical of government involvement in gambling, referred to as a tax on ignorance, investing in gold, and the expansion of the trade deficit, while valuing investments in renewable energy, having invested in solar energy and wind farms himself. Number 1. Giving back. Warren Buffett currently ranks among the richest people on Earth and has on multiple occasions taken the top spot. Had he held on to his riches, he would probably still be the wealthiest individual in the world. But the only thing greater than his fortune is Buffett's propensity for charitable generosity. For example, after being named the richest person on the planet by Forbes magazine in 2008 with a net worth of $62 billion, he donated billions of dollars, dropping to a second place the following year with a new net worth of $37 billion. In 2006, he announced his pledge to donate 83% of his money to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and has since donated 5% of his savings to the organization each year. He donates millions more to other charitable causes, always maintaining that while he worked hard to attain all he has, he recognizes that the rich earn outsized rewards and values the betterment of society as a true embodiment of philanthropy.